Hey everybody! So today I'm really excited because I am going to finally get to talk with Emma Young from Nantucket Creative Reuse Center. We connected back last spring at the, I don't want to say height of pandemic, but in the thick of it, and I've been following her journey with opening Nantucket Creative Reuse. So I'm not going to talk for her. Here she is. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Well, while it's connecting. Oh, there she is. Hello.
Hi.
I'm so excited to finally get to talk to you
I
online.
know it's been a while.
I know at some point I really want to come and visit because I'm just really excited about everything that you've been doing and amazed at everything that you've done in such a short amount
Thank
of
you.
time during a really hard time in in the world. So if you're just joining us, I'm trying to make sure I send this out to everyone. Sorry, hold on. Um,
And I'll just let you know I'm at the store and I'm open, so if I pop away and have to sneak my mask on, but it should be fine.
Yeah, no, I'm just really excited that that you are here. And I know you're busy, so I also don't want to take too much of your time. But let's get started. Let's just hop in. So if you're just joining us, I'm talking with Emma Young, sorry, Nantucket Creative Reuse Center. We connected last spring when she was just, I guess, just about to open.
I opened in December, so it was pretty shortly after I opened.
Oh, okay. So maybe it was we connected before December. Okay, everything's a blur because of the pandemic.
Right?
Sorry. I just remember being really excited for you and seeing all of the announcements and stuff. So maybe it was even before spring. So anyway, yeah, and it was, yes. I mean, that we connected like in the fall or winter. Doesn't matter. My point is, I need to stop talking and let you talk because you have so many awesome things going on. Before we get started with what you offer, I have a couple of little quick, like rapid icebreaker questions that are just really dumb, but
I like them.
okay. So are you a tea or coffee person?
I've never had coffee, so I'm gonna go with tea. I don't love hot beverages, but I'll do an iced tea.
Doesn't it get cold? It's probably, I mean, more mild because you're by the water, but doesn't it still get really cold?
Yeah, we have typical New England weather.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not a hot beverages person. It's kind of strange.
No, that's cool. I mean, that's very cool. And you've never had coffee. Okay, awesome. Obviously, I've had a lot of coffee this morning. All right, cats or dogs?
Cats, definitely. I have one cat that I've had for a couple years, and he's my best friend. I love having him in my life.
What's his name?
His name is Len.
Len. Oh, very cute. Is it short for Lenny or just Len?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you like to travel back before when it was more easy to travel? I suppose travel alone or like with other people. Do you have a preference?
I haven't really done a lot of either, actually. I'm a real homebody. But usually I'll travel alone to go see people, so it's kind of a mixture of both.
Right. That makes sense. Yep. Do you enjoy books or movies more or equally?
I do a lot of audiobooks, so I'd say books. Um, I like having like a longer story, I guess. And but either one, I always like to be doing multiple things at once. So like when I'm crafting, when I'm working on a project, sometimes I'll have a movie, but more likely I'll have an audiobook going.
Do you listen to podcasts too while you're
I do a little bit of podcast too, yeah.
right? Yeah, I hear you. Okay. Well, so if you're just joining us, I'm talking with Emma Young of Nantucket Creative Reuse, and my phone is slipping. She is an artist, and she opened the Nantucket Creative Reuse Center in Nantucket Island off of Cape Cod back in December. And so anyway, I'm sorry, my phone is, I'm just going to hold it. Let's get started about get into the nitty gritty. So can you talk? I guess some of our followers, most of our followers, probably know what creative reuse centers are right now, or by now. But can you talk about when you first heard about a creative reuse center and like what got you into doing this?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about that a lot, trying to remember back kind of what was the catalyst. I've definitely always been really inspired by art that's made out of trash and like I love sculptures made out of plastic, garbage stuff. Um, and I had been following on Instagram an artist named Calder Kamen. She takes like plastic bags and crochets with them, or she'll cut up plastic and make sculptures out of them. Um, and she lives in Austin, Texas, and she posted a lot about Austin Creative Reuse, which is the Creative Reuse Center in Austin, Texas. And I think that was the first time I heard about a Creative Reuse Center, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. This is right up my alley. And then I somehow had been talking about it with a friend of mine, and she mentioned the organization Scrap, which has a center, a big one in Portland, but also in like Ann Arbor and Baltimore. And they've had some other ones throughout the country. And they have really good information on their website about starting your own or just kind of figuring out what it's about. So this friend and I, we decided to host some pop-up events at our public library. So we collected craft materials from people. I've been, I'm like part of the community, so I know a lot of people. I've taken a lot of craft classes. I know who like a lot of the crafty people are, so it was easy enough to connect with them. So we gathered a bunch of materials. I stored them in my shed for a while, and then I think it was spring of 2019. We set up at the library, and they just put out big tables for us, and we just put all the materials out. We kind of organized it, and it was just come and take what you want. It was for free, and it was a hit. A lot of people were into it. It was just really fun to see all the different materials. And then we did another one that fall, also at the library. And then I had materials left over. I just kind of stored them, thinking we might do it again. And those are the materials I used to start the shop when I started, which was in December of 2020.
Yeah. So how was that opening in the middle of all this stuff going on all over the world? Like, how did?
I can just think about how fortunate I am and how privileged I am to be able to do that. My community thankfully was not hit too hard by the pandemic. We're isolated, and also just we have a lot of really good resources. So the restrictions weren't too harsh at the time. Most businesses were open, and yeah, it actually, to me personally, was not a huge factor as like an obstacle or a challenge, honestly.
Sorry, I dropped the phone. My thing is that's holding it. I'm having technical difficulties. Okay, can you hear me
That's
okay
okay.
if I just balance it on my computer?
Yeah.
Okay. I wish Instagram Live would let you do lives from your laptop instead of your phone because
Yeah.
long story short. So I'm sorry. Um, so well that's good. So that you didn't so do you have you mentioned like initially you didn't have a lot of restrictions, but then did it eventually get to you at a certain point where you had to adjust?
I'm trying to think. I never had to close, which was great. We've had a mask mandate that's gone back and forth. Right now, we have a townwide mask mandate for indoors, whether you're vaccinated or not, which is kind of nice. So I just put mine on when people come into the shop. I think when I first opened, we had it in place, and I was pretty much wearing it all day because we weren't really sure yet. Like, is it on stuff? Is it like, am I filling the store with my breath?
Right.
Um, but I never had to close. Yeah, it's been pretty easy in that regard, which I'm very fortunate for.
Okay, well, that's great. I'm glad to hear it because following you on social media, I'm kind of amazed. I wonder when you sleep because you have so much going on. So if someone went to your website, they have, first of all, awesome website. It's really easy to navigate. And I have a couple of little things that I know about the website, and then I'm going to let you, whatever you want to share too, of course. But when I first saw your website, I'm like, oh, that's so easy to navigate. I was surprised you offer an online shop. So you sell supplies to anyone in the US, or how does that work?
So I've been implementing a lot of different ideas. I tried that, I think probably in the spring. I had this huge donation of cross stitch and needlepoint supplies, like too much to do with. And I figured I would go for it and try an online shop just to see what that would be about. I was really overwhelmed by the idea of like putting everything on the shop.
Yeah.
So what I did was just kind of stuff I have a lot of excess of. So mostly it's actually like cross stitch fabric and yarn.
Yeah.
Um, I haven't advertised it or marketed it at all. I had one person buy like a pack of needles, which is hilarious because it's like I think the shipping costs more than that.
Right.
But I don't know how they found it. In the future, it's something that I might consider even either going fully online or doing both. But to me, that type of work is like I'm in awe by people that do that. Um, Off the top of my head, I've ordered and connected with the people at Make and Mend in Cambridge, Mass, and also Thistle in Denton, Texas. They both have online shops, and it's incredible. And to think about the amount of work of photographing everything and listing it and pricing it and then storing it in a way that is accessible
Mhm.
is just a little too much for me. So I have the site set up in case I want to add more. It's been really helpful for workshops because I can have people sign up and purchase tickets beforehand so that I know who's coming, and I can have like a set amount of seats. And then I also have like my merch on it. I have stickers and a couple shirts left, so that's also like nice to have there.
Right.
But it's just kind of a backup in case I need it.
Right. No, I actually I made a note that I'm gonna buy one of your shirts after after we're done because I love the octopus with like all the it's like such a great visual, probably like what your daily life is like balancing
Yeah.
all these things. Um, so uh, so talk a little bit about one thing that really struck me too about in your mission statement was that you not only are you offering an eco-friendly artist space and that helps save materials from landfill, you also are creating a safe space to gather and create. And so do you talk a little more about what that means?
So what a lot of my shop boils down to is just my kind of personal values and what I want to see in my community and in my personal life. And for me, I've always been really eager to get together with other people and work on projects and be creative, but with other people. I've been creative my whole life, but I think a lot of that comes from being isolated and spending a lot of time alone. And uh, as nice as that is to like have something like I'm never bored because I always can pick up a project. I love the idea of sharing that with other people. And so I wanted to make a space where that's possible, where you can just drop in and work on something, or there's specific classes. Um, just a place for like creative people to get to know each other too, and learn from each other. So that's kind of slowly what I'm leaning towards right now with some of the events and offerings that I have.
I wish I lived on Nantucket because I would be there all the time.
It's funny because I realized that I don't my friends here are actually not really my crafting friends.
Oh, really?
And then my friends that live away are kind of my crafting friends, and they're always like commenting on my stuff. Like, I wish I could come, and I'm like, I wish you could too, because like I can't always get a lot of people around here to come, but I know that I have like a lot of support elsewhere.
Right.
But that's kind of why I created it, because if I was elsewhere, there might be those resources already, and I know that that doesn't really exist here in the way that I was looking for it.
Right. Oh, that's amazing. It's such a great resource for you guys that you created. And like you mentioned, your friend helped, you did like a couple pop-up events and stuff, but I mean, are you solely the person running it right now, right? And
Yeah.
it's a lot. That's a lot of work. You should be super, super proud of yourself, especially because
Thank you.
so professional and like it's very easy to understand like your mission and what you do and all the cool like ideas that you share with people. I forwarded, because I'm still learning Instagram. I'm a little anyway. I sent out a reel that I meant to like have a thing saying join the interview, in a little while, but it was just the reel of you talking about your rock tumbling project. It didn't include the part that I put saying like just a reminder, but I was trying to show like an example of things you offer. And I already got like all these responses about how, oh, this is such a great idea. Like, and it looks like I sent it with no context. But just people seeing your video and you talking about the project, everyone, like, I got a lot of feedback about how inspirational it is. So anyway, as you can tell, I'm very excited about what you do. And
Thank you. Well, and that's really awesome to hear. I love being able to inspire people, and I'm often really inspired by what a lot of other creative reuse centers are doing as well. And it's fun, hopefully, to try to connect with other people and be like, oh yeah, this really worked, and people really love this, and that kind of thing.
right. So I wanted to actually, and we can talk more about it offline, but one of the first things that we kind of, I guess we could say we collaborated on was the upcycled mask fashion show night, or whatever, I forget what I called it, an upcycling party. And this was back when I thought that would be like the only time that we'd have to do that. So, and now we're like a year late anyway. So, and I don't know if you saw I think you did the slideshow at the end. I gave you the award of most professionally upcycled mask because it was so cool. Can you talk a little bit about how you made it?
Yeah, so I loved that event. I thought that was so creative to be like, okay, here's your base, and then just like do with it what you want. So I had been given a bunch of scraps from cashmere sweaters. I don't know if you've seen, but I know some artists will they'll wash cashmere sweaters so it's kind of felted, and then cut them up and make like plush toys or pillows, or there's a woman on island that makes like baby slippers out of them. And they're so sweet. And so it was all these tiny little scraps. And I don't know why I was like inspired by kind of like a feather shape. And so I cut out roughly the same size little feather shape in all these different colors, and then kind of like layered them onto the mask. And yeah, it was just fun to I needed that inspiration to be like, okay, make a mask. And then with that, I just could pick out whatever I was kind of feeling at the time and go with it.
Well, if you're interested in, like I said, we can talk about this offline, so I don't put you on the spot. But I was figuring, since we're getting close to like the anniversary, we should do another one where we get people to make, and maybe you could do. Anyway, we'll talk more about it offline.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to go over our time. So let me see what else I have. Oh, do you have any things with you that you'd like to share, or can we see a little bit of your shop since you're in there?
Yeah, I can do kind of like a panoramic. Let me see if I can. Okay, yeah. So I'm sitting at my table in the middle, which is kind of where I have events and just work on stuff. But this is the space. It's pretty tiny. It's about, I think it's like 500 square feet, I want to say. Um, this is kind of my little area. And then,
I love
yeah,
window display too. Like I love the colors and
thank you. Yeah, it's definitely a really colorful place, which is right up my alley.
that's and
And I like to keep it really organized. Everyone's always like, it's so organized in here. But that's actually like my favorite part is like finding a little place for everything and kind of tidying. Yesterday I went around and like tidied up a bunch of stuff and made it look just like neater.
yeah. Oh man, I wish I had that desire. No, it does. Like the when I've talked with other folks who work in creative reuse, some of them say like they don't enjoy that part. So that's awesome that you do because it's a huge part of what like what you do, right? When you get to
Yeah.
make. So real quick, like what is that gives you the most? I feel like you've maybe answered this, but what gives you the most joy in your day to day with running a creative reuse center?
Well, there are some things like I love when people come in with like kind of odd things or they're looking for something specific. And a lot of times I can either help them find it or like try to point them in the right direction. Um, or people will come for advice too, which feels like I've made it, like I'm the craft guru.
You, I mean,
Where and sometimes it's just like they need inspiration, and I find that this shop is just kind of the perfect place. So I'll give a couple examples of like interesting moments. Like I had a friend come in recently. She had to do this project for her school where they were making little peace banners. And she was like, I have this idea. Like, can you look at my sketch? And just like we looked at her sketch and kind of talked about like where she could go with it, what materials she could use, and then kind of walked around and like found some things that might work. And she was like, thank you. I just needed kind of like another set of eyes on it. And that was like, that felt really good for me to be like, yeah, I would love to be your other set of eyes on that. Um, and like I said, just like crafting with other people. For my birthday this year, we have a local puppeteer and I just love her show. So I had her come to a show and then I did a puppet making workshop. So I
wow.
had a bunch of kids like just making little finger puppets and just like seeing them be creative and the materials that they picked out and what they did with them was really cool.
Oh, and that makes me also remember because I have so many questions that I know we're not gonna have time to get to all of them, but do you frequently collaborate with schools or are there other organizations that you have
It's something I'm starting to do. Excuse me. I've had a couple people reach out, and I've reached out to a couple people. Nothing has been like super set in stone or happened, but it's definitely on my radar. I see that my friend Sarah just joined. She messaged me the other day. She runs like a nature center, so we talked about doing like a pressed flower workshop or journals. Um, yeah, I'm totally down, especially when other people like have an idea and are like, this would happen. Oh, actually, I have a friend that works at a local theater, and before Halloween, they're going to be selling some of their old costumes, and we're collaborating. I'm going to bring materials for sale that I think would be good for like making accessories or like adding on. So when people like find a costume to be inspired, it's like, okay, well, you have your like animal, but maybe you need ears or a tail, so like here's some extra yarn or
right.
something like that. And then I think I'm also going to do like a little mask making workshop at that event as well. So that's my next upcoming collaboration that I'm excited about, and that's really helpful for getting the word out about the shop too. To partner with other people and other organizations that can like whether it's cross promoting on Instagram or in newspaper ads, any kind of advertising for me helps. So that's a good way to do that. And just like reach people that might not have my shop on their radar, but would be interested in if they knew that it existed.
Right. and you're, you know, I keep mentioning, I'm just amazed at everything you've done in such a short amount of time on your own. I mean, wow. Like, just if I'm encouraging people to go, and I'll put the links in Instagram, or, you know, I'll put it on Facebook or YouTube or whatever. I'm, like I said, but to direct people more to your website and everything. But I'm just amazed at like everything that you've done to offer in such a short amount of time.
Thank you.
Oh no, I mean, it's amazing. Gosh, there was one more question I wanted to ask you, and now oh, duh. How can people who are watching now support you? So whether they're local or even that, like, I mean, I hope that if I buy a shirt, that'll help support you in some type way. But like, if for folks who are watching are excited about you, because they probably will be when they go to your, you know, your all of your stuff and this interview. You know what I mean? Like when they see all the things you're doing, how can they help support you online or in person, or, you know?
Well, I have had people mail me donations, which is really awesome. I feel like so blessed because a lot of stuff, like the shipping is expensive on that stuff. I have to say, people, their number one wanting to help me is like, what can I give for you to donate? And I'm like, actually, I'm literally sometimes buried in craft supplies. I'm looking for people to come shop and come to my events and my programs. Right now, I'm offering almost every day of the week, I'm offering like an open studio for a
Yeah.
different kind of craft. And that is like purely about sharing the resources and the supplies that I have with the community. So I'm looking for people to come to that. And I think it's a mindset shift. Like it's so easy to just click add to cart on Amazon or whatever online, but like a box of crayons, like I'm practically giving stuff away because it needs a home, not in the trash, and there's like no need to buy certain things new. So just to like get used to shifting your mindset, and even if it's not at my store, like look at other places. I know two of the ones I mentioned, Thistle and Make and Mend, ship in, I don't know if it's internationally, but definitely across the country. Um, or like look up where your closest creative reuse is, because a lot of people haven't even heard of the concept.
Yeah.
But they're everywhere. So look it up and just get that into your routine. Even like thrift stores, you can find a lot of stuff at thrift stores. Like start there first, start secondhand first, and then if you can't find it, buy new. And eventually, like with small steps like that, these places will become more the norm and we'll get used to sharing our stuff more.
I love that. That's such great advice. Yeah, no, thank you. And I know my page doesn't really have a huge following yet, but that's part of what I'm trying to do too, because I just heard about Creative Reuse Center in the last couple years, and I'm just like, what? Like, because, you know, I used to go to Michael's or Target or whatever, and
Yeah,
now
exactly.
I go to Creative Reuse. Like, this is amazing.
And it's fun, like it's a treasure hunt. If you're into thrifting,
Yeah,
it's the same thing, but just craft supplies essentially.
right.
Well, some other places have like home goods and stuff like that too. So,
So
and there's a lot of things that people maybe wouldn't think of. Like, I have like wrapping supplies and like party decorations. I have a bunch of like glass jars and containers. I would love people, like, we have a huge market for weddings on island, and I would love for people who are like planning their own wedding to come in. Like, I have so much fabric and candles and like cute decorative stuff that you might not think of. But there's a lot more than just crafting that you can do with the supplies here too.
right. I mean, the local one here in DC that I started going to supplies, school supplies for teachers, and lots of artists go there,
Yeah.
get supplies. And so, yeah, it's just, I mean, picture frames, like everything. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, how how best to get in touch with you if folks who are watching this either live or on the replay want to find out more?
The best is probably email, and my email address is on my website, but it's just info@nantucketcreativereuse.com. I'm on Instagram all the time, so comments and messages are cool. I try to check Facebook, but I have a harder time with that.
Right.
But yeah, I'm easy to contact, and if you're on island, just come into the shop. I'm here most afternoons.
All right. Well, thank you so much again. I'm so glad we got to chat for looks like you got someone there, so I'm gonna let you go.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Thank you so much, Emma, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Ashley. This has been a pleasure.
Yeah, me too. I'm so happy we connected.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hi.